Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I hope you can hear me out there. I know we're just getting started. You can tell Myra that she just went out. Hopefully she'll come back on. But we're going to get started. This is Angelique. There she is. Hi, Myra.
Hello. Hi.
This is Angelique Pierce. I am so excited to be back here. This is the last Sunday in the month of October. And if you have been paying attention at all, then you know that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And let me tell you something. Y'all know I've been on here for many, many months at this point, and I am a survivor of domestic violence. But more than anything, I am an advocate of freedom and truth. That is what's most important to me. I am also the founder of Ladder Masters Inspirational Leadership Group, better known as Ladder Masters. And so as we get started, I'm looking for the numbers. I'm looking for people to join us. I know it's 7:00 on Halloween night, but I pray that we get the people here that we need, because more than anything, it's the message. It's the message that needs to be heard. So I just want to say thank you all, whoever's coming in. Listen, I see a couple people join in right now. Please go right ahead and share this podcast. I don't care how many Facebook groups you are a part of. I know all y'all got 50 million friends on Facebook. Believe me, I know. So right now, tag somebody. I don't care who it is. This is a special, special episode. Very special, with a special woman who is sitting, what I see on my screen, she's two people over. That's Miss Myra right there. Wait till I'll bring her on. Y'all just wait. So right now, if you haven't tagged someone, tag somebody who needs to hear this message. I know you're a part of Facebook groups. Share it to as many of your groups as you can, because tonight's episode is quite special. Very special. My daughter just brought me her computer to show me that she's logged in.
Hey, watching the video.
Okay, all right. So she's watching it. That's never happened before. She's never come on my camera. All right, so we're gonna get started. So right now, who you see on screen, you see two people. My special guest tonight, Miss Myra Torrance. She's here. She is a survivor of domestic violence. You know from the flyers that she is also deaf, right? So she's got something special about her. And I swear to you, I've never met a woman like her. Never. In the middle, we have someone who doesn't really want to be recognized, but I'm going to recognize her anyway. That is Felicia Douglas. She's our interpreter for the night. She is the founder, wonderful organization, Equivalent Communications. All right, so again, if you're on here and you haven't shared this yet, get started. Now, let me say a couple things before I let Myra introduce herself. Let me tell y'all something. I thought I knew just about everything there was to know about domestic violence until I had my first conversation with Myra. This was more than a wake-up call for me. And so I just want to say a few things. We're going to say a prayer because I believe in praying before we get too far into our conversation. We have got to let God in. We have got to ask His Spirit to join us in this conversation. That's really important. So I'm actually going to do that now, and then I'm going to jump into the topic. Are you ladies ready? All right, let's bow our heads real quick.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, God, we just come before you, thanking you for this moment. Because honestly, this is a wake-up call for me. It has been eye-opening. I never thought about others who weren't just like me going through this situation. So I thank you right now for Myra's life. I thank you right now that she and I have a special bond, that we share something that not everybody shares with each other. God, I ask that you come into this conversation, and even as we have this discussion, that you continue to heal both me and Myra in every single moment that we have this conversation today. God, I know that there are many people, victims, survivors out there looking for many answers. God, I just ask you right now, be with us. And for those victims and survivors, I pray for nothing but their courage to get out and their strength to stay out. I thank you for all these things. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Woo!
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, well, let me start off with something important here. Y'all see what I'm wearing today? You see this lovely color I'm wearing today? I would like to formally thank Myra for suggesting my outfit for today. Thank you, Myra.
You're welcome.
Listen, I was all like, what am I going to wear on Sunday? Maybe I should order something off of Amazon. Maybe I should go to the mall. Myra said, it's Halloween. We wearing orange. I was like, we wearing orange.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, and I appreciate you because you are sharing something special with me and with my audience. So there are some people that are going to join in live tonight, and there are others who will watch the recording later. But we are going to do this together, you and I. Okay, Myra? We're going to do this together. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we already have a comment. Let me see whose comment this is. Ooh, this is a wonderful lady named Miss Johnny. She said, good evening. She's the one who said, oh, this is a first. I am not going to miss this. I will be there. So Miss Johnny said, good evening. All right. So let's get started. Now, I have some very important things to discuss. Now, let me just set the stage. I've learned a lot in reading about domestic violence in the deaf community. I still don't know it all, and Myra's going to help us. But one thing I want to leave with you, one thing I want to leave with all of you, is that domestic violence, or intimate partner violence, as it's also called, is 1.5 times the rate in the hearing community. I don't know if y'all understand that. Maybe it doesn't get talked about as much. But tonight, we are going to uncover this thing. We're going to talk about it. And Myra's going to help me. And Felicia's going to help too. All right. So before we get into the story, into your story and deep into your story, Myra, let's talk about who Myra is. Where are you from? When you are not working, tell us what we can likely find you doing. What's your favorite food, restaurant, your favorite movies, TV shows? Who is Myra Torrance? We want to know. I want to know.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. I am originally from Gastonia, North Carolina, born and raised. Then I moved to Charlotte about 15 years ago. I have enjoyed living here. It's a nice city. Now, when I'm not working, most of the times I'm in my room, you'll find me reading a book. Mm-hmm. I am a bookworm. I love to read books. Mm-hmm. I've been reading books since I was a child.
What's the last
books everywhere?
Ask her what's the last book she's read.
What's the last book you read? Well, nostalgic books. I really like that.
Okay. All right.
R.L. Stein is one of my favorite books.
All right.
Fear Street. So I figured that was a great book because we're in the month of October. So I grabbed that one off and just started reading that book. So yeah, it's one of my favorite childhood books. So yeah.
Love it.
Just makes more sense. And it's the season of Halloween. So, but now going to your other question, I love Italian food. I love spaghetti. Mm-hmm. And that was since I was a child too. Sometimes you will find me cooking lasagna.
Oh, okay.
You don't like. Now, I don't like a lot of cheese. You don't like a lot of cheese?
What?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just don't like it. Anyone can cook it with the cheese, but I won't have it. I have to have a side of spaghetti there if you was to do that. Now,
what about mac and cheese?
Look, this the interpreter. I want clarity. You say you don't like a lot of cheese? Not on the lasagna. Okay, interpreter was right. Not on the lasagna. It's too much now. I don't like too much cheese on my lasagna.
What about mac and cheese?
What about cheese. You like? Oh, that's not well, it's not really the same. Not really the same. I just don't like lasagna. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now, mac and cheese is my favorite. So
Oh,
you
okay.
can't
All right.
compare the two. You can't compare the two. It's my favorite.
Okay. Movies, TV shows. What else?
Movies.
She like, I don't know.
Gone with the Wind is my favorite movie. I love
she likes
it.
classics. Okay. All
I
right.
watch it every year for Thanksgiving. Yep. Every year
Very
for
nice.
Thanksgiving, I watch it.
Very nice.
With my mom growing up, I remember being home watching that with her, and I just learned to love it. Now, my favorite TV show. Old school. What about Good Times? I like Good Times. I would say that.
That's good. That's good.
That's old school. Good Times. Yep. I have to go with Good Times.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I love it. And by the way, you look beautiful tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So we are going to get into your story. But is there anything else you want to tell us about you that I didn't ask? Anything else you want the audience, the viewers to know about you that we didn't ask? Just about your personal life, the things you like?
I think I'm good to go.
All right. So then
I am a mother of two boys.
There we go.
Yep, that's about it. I'm a mother of two boys.
Go ahead for all the moms out there.
Yes.
All right. So let's get into your story. Okay. Now, my first question, though, this is an important question to kind of set the stage for everybody. Okay. Many survivors, and I've learned this, many survivors are afraid and sometimes even ashamed to admit that they went through domestic violence. So why are you, Myra, why are you willing to come on this podcast and share your story?
Well, I've been hearing that a lot of hearing people have experienced domestic violence. And I don't think a lot of people realize that deaf people have experienced domestic violence as well.
Mm-hmm.
I figured I could share my experience, my perspective, being a deaf person, because a lot of people do not think about it.
Yeah.
I figured now will be a good time to wake up the hearing world.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look from a deaf person's perspective, possibly getting connected with an agency that could assist, because I don't think they realize that deaf people need help too.
Yes.
So I have to put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we never know if another group have experienced domestic violence as well, because a lot of people don't think about a certain group of people.
Very true. Very, very true. We have a comment from somebody we're going to share, okay? This is Tommy. Now, Tommy is a male domestic violence survivor. He went through 2 situations of domestic violence. And so he is just letting you know respect for you, for me, for all of us here today. All right. Thank you, Tommy. So good to have you on. He and I were just texting earlier today. So I appreciate you, Myra. Thank you for coming on, because you're right. The hearing community, we only understand, a lot of us only understand domestic violence from the way we get it, not thinking about people who are deaf, blind, whatever other, issue may be there. But I just thank you today, because, I appreciate you. I told you that. Okay. So let's talk about the details. Okay. You are deaf, but you are also a survivor of domestic violence. And I want you to talk to us about, how did you meet him, right? How did you meet him, and how was the relationship in the beginning?
It's very interesting, but kind of a funny story. I'm sure most of you know IMO. At the
IMO.
beginning, yep, IMO.
Okay.
IMO, yep. And IMO is the app that you are supposed to connect with family and friends on. That was the purpose for IMO, was supposed to be. And he just so happened to send me a message, wanting to know how do we know each other and if we were in each other's contact list. I didn't know if it was true. I didn't know who he was. So a few weeks later, he contacted me again. And he was telling me that IMO became a dating site, and I didn't know that. I never paid attention to IMO being changed to a dating site. I wasn't aware of that. I was like, okay, I didn't know that, but okay.
Okay.
Thank you for informing me. Thank you for letting me know. Again, a few weeks later passed, he contacted me again, and we just started talking from there. And it just started off from there.
Okay. Now, was he deaf? Is he hearing?
He's hearing.
Okay. All right. All right. So one more. Somebody else that says this is great. I don't know if he's trying to say this is a great app or this is a great moment or what. But that's Jacob. So glad he's joined the show too. Okay. All right. Before we proceed, because it's about to get real. So to my viewers, to my viewing audience, if you haven't shared this yet, please share it to your Facebook groups. Tag someone in it that you know needs to be watching tonight. This is a special episode to close out Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This is Ms. Myra Torrance. We have a story for you. And because she is helping me to bring awareness to a community of people that I never thought about, but it's so important. The rate of domestic violence in the deaf community is 1.5 times the rate in the hearing community. But why aren't we hearing about this? Why is no one talking about it? Why is no one talking about the lack of resources available for people like Myra? Because we are too busy worrying about the masses and not worrying about other people who are just as important. So Myra and I are going to continue this conversation. So in short, she just told us, Myra just shared that she met him on in an app that wasn't a dating app, that later became a dating app. Conversation started. I'm guessing they went out a couple times, right? At some point, you had a regular relationship with him, Myra. That's how it started. So now I want you to tell us.
Yep, that's right.
That's right. What happened? Take us back. What happened the first time he put his hands on you?
Well, I wanted to hang out with my best friend, okay? And I wanted to do some girl things, go shopping. I call it self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I did not have any plans. So I figured it was okay for me to go out. So I went out with my best friend. And I didn't know if he was still at home or not. Because again, I rode with my friend. And
right.
I decided to send him a text while, my friend and I was out, telling him that I saw him with someone else. And he didn't respond. He didn't say anything. So I just continued on with my day, shopping, got a manicure, went out to eat, just enjoyed myself. Well, when I arrived home, he didn't like the way I was talking to him when I had got home. He grabbed me by the neck. He just put his hands wrapped around my neck. We were in my bedroom, and he just put his hands around my neck. I mean, he had a firm grip where I could not breathe. He told me to never talk to him like that again. And he said he will not take any disrespect from me. And that was a first for me. I've never experienced abuse before in a relationship. You know, this was a first. And when that happened, I escaped. I ran away to another friend's home just to kind of get myself together, calm down, because I still was in disbelief at what just took place.
Right.
I was thinking this wouldn't happen again. But he choked me. He had a firm grip where I couldn't even breathe. This is the first abuse situation ever for me.
Well, I'm glad you made it through that. I'm glad you made it through that. So then there's just so much. There's so much we have to talk about. So as a deaf victim of domestic violence, I know you and I face some of the same circumstances, you know, but there are other tactics that abusers use to control you specifically because you are deaf. Can you tell us about some of those moments, those specific moments where he's using the fact that you are deaf against you?
My situation is almost the same as a hearing person. You know, we both have cell phones, but as a deaf person, we have to depend on our cell phones. You know, that is our soul of communication. Our cell phones are. We cannot hear and we cannot speak well. And he knows that. He knows that I have to depend on my cell phone to contact my family and friends. So sometimes when I would ride with him in a car, he would just take my phone and he would just leave me wherever I'm at. And I'm sure some of you all have memorized some phone numbers before, but unfortunately, you know, back then I didn't bother to memorize anybody's phone number. You know, my mom, my dad, my brothers, right? I didn't have to. He just thought that he controlled me by taking my cell phone. You know, we would start arguing. He would just take my phone and just leave. Again, I depend on my phone. He knows that because I'm deaf.
For messaging, right?
Yes. Yep. We text. Yep. We communicate through text. Yep. Him and I. Yep.
Wow.
And that's how he controlled me, by taking my phone. He knows by taking my phone, nobody will know what's going on because I'm unable to contact somebody. He would take my phone and just leave. He'll be the one driving, so I wouldn't have the phone. How will I get transportation? You know, that was his tactic of finding a way to control me. So, and again, when a deaf person is dating a hearing person, it's like mimicking the language. You know, when you pretend like you smiling when you doing this like that. That's not what he do. He do know how to finger spell, but he's not a fluent signer.
Okay.
Yeah, my phone though, that was very important. You know, I depended on it. I needed my phone. You know, if I feel scared, if I feel unsafe, I can text someone.
Right.
But that's what I go through. It's like my silence that I have to go through.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I mean, even preparing for this, we text a lot. That's how we really communicated. So he would leave you somewhere, take your phone, and you're around mostly hearing people probably who you can't communicate with or just call for help to me, stuff like that just burns me up. Like, just burns me up. All right. So I want to take you back just again. Okay. I want you to tell us, if you can, tell us about some of those other painful, scary moments of abuse that you suffered through and that you will never forget.
One thing, I was raped. I don't like it. One time we were arguing. He got really upset. He pushed me down on the bed, face down on the bed, and he raped me. And it still bothers me because I experienced rape when I was younger. So for him to do that, I had a flashback. And he knows that. He knows I don't like rough sex. He knows that. If you feel that you need to force me to have sex because you're angry or push me, you know, that is something he did pretty often.
Oh.
Sometimes he'll rape me when I'm laying on my back. He will find a way to like choke me, use his arm to hold me down. Sometimes I feel like I thought I was going to lose my life. I thought I was going to die right then and there. My kids, they were out of town for the summer. It was just us here, I don't like that.
This part bothers me so much.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate that at all.
So, oh gosh, I said I wasn't gonna cry. It just bothers me so much. It bothers me so much. So, everybody who's listening right now, this is Myra. Beautiful woman, beautiful person, silly, funny, a mother of 2 boys, creative, all kinds of things. And there was a person that she met. I'm just trying to catch you all up. There's a person that she met, a hearing person, who treated her like he really wanted to date her. And it turns out that he really wanted to manipulate, take advantage of her. And he did just that. And, as a survivor of domestic violence myself, thinking about this additional circumstance of Myra being deaf, it just really gets to me that someone would go to the lengths that this person did to abuse a person who did not deserve it in any way, shape, or form. So what Myra just shared is that one of the things that he would do is rape her, whether pushing her face down and holding her where she can't get away, or even on her back and using his hands to strangle her. So let me just pause right there, because Myra, am I right that you have never publicly told this?
Well, I have shared my story, but only on surface level.
On the surface
level.
Not in
detail.
Yes. So thank you.
I'm now letting it out.
And let me tell you.
Again, I just stay on surface level.
Yeah.
I try not to think too much about it.
Because it's painful. It's painful. But I thank you for sharing it, because I'm telling you, there's somebody who has been unable to speak those words. And you are sitting here upright with your head held up like the queen that you are, telling this story. And whatever he tried to do, he tried to destroy you. He tried to break you on so many levels and make you feel less than. but you are more than. And I cannot imagine what you experienced. I can't. That was not my experience. I know what it feels like to be pressured. Pressured to have sex and eventually saying fine and giving in and just allowing it to happen and trying to go with the flow. But what you've described, straight up rape, that is more than I can almost still, and I heard this before, and still to this moment, it is hard for me to picture it. So you, beautiful woman, are courageous, you are strong, and you amaze me because in spite of when most people would have tried to count you out, would have said your disability makes you less than, here you are speaking to what will be millions of people, I believe it, what will be millions of people telling your story and bringing awareness to domestic violence in the deaf community because your community matters just as much as the hearing community. So I just applaud you and I am grateful to you. So, all right, I'm all right. I made it through. Woo! I made it through that part. That part's hard for me. Whew. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I have so many questions. I could just go so deep into that one. I want you to talk to us about, that was some bad stuff you just shared. What are some of the difficulties that you faced, Myra, when you were trying to get help, when you were trying to get services and resources to get out of your situation or to get help with your abusive situation? What's some of the difficulties that the deaf community faces?
For me, some deaf people I've met, like I said, hearing agencies that support domestic violence focus on the hearing community. They don't have a lot of resources to help us because we are deaf. They have more for hearing people.
Yeah.
So I tried to call a few agencies. You try to call a few agencies? On Google. Yep, by looking it up on Google.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the same response. So I really didn't know how they can help me because I'm deaf. So that kind of made me feel like I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
And I figured, you know what? I don't need to contact any more agencies. I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to, figure it out, fight my way through it. I just kept it moving. I would feel a relief when he would leave for a few days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then he'll come back for a week or two. I just try very careful not to piss him off. I try to find a way to not push him, or I guess I should say try not to push his buttons, right? I tried to make sure I could try to make sure what with your family. Because I couldn't talk with my family. So I want to make sure I wouldn't push his buttons or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I've been on my own, for quite some time. So that's why I didn't want to share anything with my family. My family always think I'm a happy-go-lucky person and things like that. Like I said, me being on my own, and I can always get through anything because I'm there for everyone. Right. I'm always there. And I just develop in my head, to keep it moving. Don't contact any more agencies because the ones I've reached out to couldn't help. They would not provide an interpreter. Either they don't pay or just, it was always something. So I told myself to keep it moving. Those were the barriers that I had to face. And again, I just told myself to keep it moving.
Did you ever try to call the police? What happened when you tried calling the police?
I never got that far.
Mm.
Because it's embarrassing for me for the police to come to my house. It was something I was not comfortable with doing. I just didn't even want to go down that path.
I imagine, because are they going to send someone who's an interpreter? You know, then what happens when they get there? They're not going to understand you. I can imagine how difficult that could be. So did you ever get help? Any help? From law enforcement or the courts or anybody?
Nope. But from what I've heard, though, from some deaf people, when they call the police, if you are dating a hearing person, they kind of have the way of manipulating the police officers.
See, tell us more.
You know, so the police officer will believe the hearing person. That's what I've been told. So, but as far as trying to get help, no, like I said, I just keep it moving. Keep it moving, kept it moving.
I'm so glad you made it through this. I'm so glad you made it through this. Oh my gosh. I could talk to you for hours, Myra, seriously, because I think you provide understanding that people just don't have. We are all told, call the police. We are all told, go to the courthouse and get a domestic violence protection order, right? We are told, text people, call people, all these things. But it's because we're picturing domestic violence from a hearing person's perspective. Where are all the resources for those who cannot hear? That is the problem. And that's why you're on here today, because you have some insight that I don't have. And I appreciate you for being here to help with that. We're going to talk more about some of the things that you are working on, Myra, because you are doing work in the community as well. So, next question.
Yep.
How did you finally get away from your abuser?
Well, one thing, I got lucky. I would say that.
Okay.
My brother just so happened to move in with me. And in a way, that was a blessing. When my brother moved in with me, the abuse lessened and then it stopped. We will still argue, of course, you know, kind of in the back, you know, background, things like that. But with my brother being hearing, my ex did not use his voice, you know, kind of whispered a little bit so my brother couldn't hear.
Yep.
He would be playing this game where he would be mad at me, right? And he'll pack up all of his belongings. And, you know, back then, I used to beg him to stay because I felt like, wait, I don't have anybody else, you know? My family, they weren't visiting me that much.
Yep.
And he became a part of my family, you know? So he would like pack up his stuff and, you know, threaten to leave. But anyways, one day my brother was here. And we were arguing, and he started picking up his stuff, and I just kind of look at him, you know, and he started putting things up in the car. I left with my friend. My friend and I went uptown. We enjoyed ourselves, and you know, like I said, he was picking up, and he had left, and he took some of my things with him, but I don't care. He was gone. So I don't care. I just felt free.
Bye, boy.
Yes, bye. Yep, I'm just glad he was gone. And it felt like a big burden was lifted off of me. I felt like I could breathe, you know? Now, my brother, he never asked any questions. And he probably thought it was just a normal couple argument or whatever, you know, fighting, you know. That's what he probably thought. But he never bothered to ask me any questions.
Oof.
Yep, he just left. And I'm like, okay, bye. Woo. Yes, bye. Go. I was like, go. But yes, it doesn't mean
and hurry up too. Hurry up.
It doesn't mean that. But At least he was out of my way. He was out of my hair.
Yes.
I did change the lock after he left, and that was it.
Oh my gosh. It's really amazing because the same tactics of power and control are used no matter what the situation is. Abusers are so much alike. And I guess when your brother got there, he didn't have total control anymore. And he didn't like that.
Nope.
He needed to move on to somebody else, probably, where he could get total control. Where's that fool now? Where is he now?
But mind you, when he was picking up his things in a car, he was upset. Right. And it's not safe to leave when you're traveling over the road like that. Yeah. But again, my brother was here. So, and I was there. So, I still, whenever my brother went somewhere in a house, I'll follow my brother, Mm-hmm. And she made up an excuse to talk with your brother. So my brother I just made up a conversation. My brother, when he was here. If he would go in the living room, I would go in the living room. He in the kitchen, I would go in the kitchen. If he was in the bedroom, I'll go in the bedroom. I would just make up a conversation with my brother. That's exactly what I did. Yep.
He was your protection. Go ahead, brother. Older brother or younger brother?
My baby brother.
Your baby brother. Go ahead, baby brother.
I call him my big brother.
Your big baby brother.
Yep.
Shout out to the family members that stick by us. Thank God. My brother had a huge, he helped me so much through my situation, especially financially. Now he's 2 years older than I am. So he really is my big brother, but sometimes I feel like a big sister to him. We have another comment that just came in. I'm going to show it on the screen, okay? This is actually my cousin Marion. She says, "To God be the glory. I see you. Thank God for using you to help. God bless. Praise the Lord." Amen. Amen. All right. So,
amen.
Let's think just for a second. You told us a lot, and I'm sure you could probably tell us so much more about what happened. But just thinking about all of it together, what did domestic violence cost you? Whether it was financial, emotional, mental, physical, what did domestic violence cost you?
It cost me a lot emotionally. I was stressed. My hair was coming out. I was not myself.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, I would say it cost me financially. He had expensive taste. I mean, somehow became his sugar mama.
Oof.
And
I know what that's like.
He would want me to take him shopping. He loved Pumas, LeBron James, Jordans, or I guess they call LeBrons, Jordans. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I have my own boys. I told you I'm a mother of two. I have bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to avoid riding with him too. Because I will always have to pay for everything, clothes, shoes, when we go out to eat. I'm not a fast food person. I prefer a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have to buy everything, and it messed me up financially.
Wow.
I got behind on my bills. My kids started going without, their needs. They outgrow their clothes, of course. But, my finances just wasn't there anymore.
Did you try to tell him no?
I mean, I would try, but then we would start arguing.
Mm-hmm.
I get embarrassed in public because of him. He would just start embarrassing me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just shut up and do it. So I just try my best to stay at home. Try not to go anywhere with him because I just never know where he's going to take me. I try to leave my wallet at home too. That was something else I tried to do.
That's right. I don't got my wallet. I forgot.
Trust me. He would turn a car around to make me go in the house to get my purse. Trust me. We would go back to get my purse. Yes.
Okay. Did he have a job?
Yes. He had a job. Well, a job. Yeah. He
Quote unquote.
He had his own business.
Oh, don't they all? Don't they all? Oh my gosh.
Always.
Can I just say that I don't like him?
Sure, yes, you can.
I don't like him.
Say that. It's just.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that man just had expensive taste. And he was very colorful. Oh my gosh, his clothing was very colorful. I mean, he always find a way to get his way. So yeah, emotionally, it cost me emotionally a lot. Yeah, emotionally, financially.
I can see that. And your children suffered too.
Yeah.
But
my kids, they didn't really think about it,
Right.
Because the kids, they were busy, they were playing around, technology, things like that. So they didn't really think about it. But sometimes he would, every once in a blue moon, may ask for clothes, to try to make up to me. Again, talking about my ex-boyfriend, he would try to every once in a while, every blue moon, he would try to ask or do something for them just to make up to me.
Of course, that's how they keep you hooked. That's how they keep you like, oh, well, maybe he's not so bad. Maybe, it's that kind of thing. So, everybody,
exactly.
this is Myra. Okay, if you recently joined, this is Myra. Do you see that face? Do you see that joy? So whatever domestic violence may have cost her, what it did not cost her is her joy. Look at her. She is here. She got her little makeup on and her hair laid to the side. I love it. You look beautiful. God has still shined on you in spite of everything you've been through. I am so glad I met you. I'm so glad I met you. Listen, this is Myra Torrance. We are about to get into further discussion about the organization that she is working on, how you can contact her, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more, but I'm going to flash some information on the screen real quick. I'm just going to show it up here because this is who we're talking to. I'm going to leave it on here, okay? But Myra, you have done more than survived. Your story did not end there, okay? So you've turned your pain into purpose. Just like me, you and I have done some similar things, and now you own a business. I know you're fairly new into it, but I want people to know Deaf Heart to Deaf Heart, which is designed to help other deaf survivors of domestic violence. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. It was just an idea. A friend and I, my friend is deaf, have also experienced abuse. And we were having a heartfelt conversation, with one another. And I watched my friend who experienced abuse. I tried my best to help her because I was free from my situation by then. It was unfortunate for her. It wasn't any resources. So I said, how come I won't, create something for deaf and blind?
Right.
instead of keep going to a hearing agency asking for resources or equipment, you know, to help those in the deaf community.
Mm-hmm.
I know funding was a thing that you have to have being a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out how to get an interpreter was another thing. So I just tried my very best to network and gather additional resources that I could, you know, to help my friend. You know, both of us was experiencing or had experienced abuse. So it's a lot of resources available to the hearing community, but it's not the same for the deaf community. I started doing a few presentations in Charlotte with some hearing agencies. They would come and they would listen to my presentations.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get my foot in the door somehow. I'm still facing barriers though.
Mm.
So right now, it's still a work in progress at this time. But I definitely want to provide more resources to the deaf and connect them with agencies. But I cannot do that without help, you
Are
know?
y'all listening? Is everybody who is on here, if you have some kind of business, and even if you watch later, if you have some kind of business, access to resources, I hope that you are hearing Myra right now. Because what she's essentially saying is the hearing community has all of these resources and all of this help, all of these people ready to stand by and say domestic violence is wrong. How can we help you? Come over here. We've got people to help you fill out your paperwork. We've got people to listen to your story and counsel you and all these things, right? We got ways to give you money and funding and access to vouchers for places to live. We've got all this stuff for the hearing community. What about the deaf community? What about the blind community and even the deaf blind community? So if you are listening right now, and you have any way that you can support this effort, Deaf Heart to Deaf Heart, that is Miss Myra Torrance. And she is on a mission to help whoever she can. Because what we have access to, I hate saying it this way because no survivor or victim is privileged, but in a way, we are privileged as compared to what Myra faces and people in the deaf community face. So I've got a couple of people who want to say some things to you, Myra, and I'm going to show those comments on the screen. First, this beautiful lady is going to be on the show soon. She said, "Hi, Myra. So proud of you."
Thank you.
And here's Miss Johnny Allen from earlier. She said, "Proud of you. Thanks for sharing." People don't know, Myra, right?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, people don't know. So I'm going to put your information back up because she's making it
Right.
possible for you to contact her in more than one way and support her organization. So let's make sure we do some things like that. Anything you want to add, Myra? I know I just said a lot. Anything you want to add here?
Yeah. I want you all to know that there are different groups out there. It doesn't have to be hard to connect. It doesn't have to be hard for us to connect with the hearing agency. You know, just open your heart, be willing to help us and learn as well. Please, if you have resources, to share it. Because more deaf or deafblind or hard of hearing people have been abused.
Yes.
And they are afraid to come out.
Mm.
Again, I try to find as much resources as I can to help, but I can't get far with the little that I do have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying my best to keep going, but at the same time, it's hard for me because I feel like I'm losing the fight sometimes in my own community.
Mm.
Because, you know, communication is a problem.
Yes.
Whatever you can do for us, please try.
Myra, let me ask you a question. What is the number one thing you need most in the deaf community? When we say resources and help, what's the number one thing you need? Is it money? Money for interpreters?
I've been coming out of my pocket.
Wow.
To help a few deaf survivors to pay for their hotel. Oof. I know that I'm not supposed to. I've even let some stay in my home. Of course, finance is a problem. But my biggest is communication, being open to provide communication. You cannot expect a deaf person to write because not all of them have the knowledge to be able to read and understand what you wrote. So if you can help to pay for a sign language interpreter or a shelter, those two will help tremendously. Wow. Again, I've been coming out of my pocket. I mean, but it makes me nervous when I have them coming into my home because I don't know if their abuser is following the. I'm so sorry, my boys is here. I'm so sorry.
All right. Hey y'all.
But I just want to make it easy for them to have access to get the help that they need. Yes, whether it's an interpreter, whether it's shelter, that's what they need. Because deaf people hide it very well because they know that the hearing community won't help them. Wow. Again, communication. So an interpreter and shelter are the two biggest things that I need.
Are y'all listening? Are you listening? We getting to know your boys while we're doing this whole thing. Hi, y'all. But are you listening? Listen, I am doing what I can to help bring awareness to this topic. I told you I'm here first to bring awareness, to break down facades. It's okay, Myra. It's okay. To bring awareness, to break down.
I'm sorry, just one moment. I'm so sorry.
No problem. No problem. She said bye.
I told them have fun. They going trick or treating. I told them bye.
Have fun. Have fun, y'all. Have fun. But I tell people I am here first to bring awareness, second, to break down facades, and third, to build conquerors. Whatever I can do to make someone see who they and remember who they really are so they can conquer and rise again, that's what I'm here to do, help with. So I'm going to figure out how to help bring some more resources your direction. Myra, I have never in my life met someone like you. And you have just changed my entire thinking around domestic violence. And so I appreciate you for that because I thought I knew some stuff. You just opened the floodgates for me. Like, I just thank you to you. I have another comment. This is one of my sorority sisters. I'm going to put her up. And I swear we're related. We just haven't figured out where, but we are related. So she said, thank you, beautiful, for being courageous and sharing your story, keeping you and your boys in prayer and claiming the victory for all things in your life. Yes, indeed. All right. So I have some last questions. You may have kind of answered them already, but I'm going to give you a chance to do it again. I'm going to frame them a certain way. So last questions. What final thoughts would you want to leave the audience with? And you can talk directly to the deaf community, to the hearing community, even to law enforcement and like the courts. But what final thoughts would you like to leave the audience with?
For the deaf community, I want them to know that I'm trying my best to get the help that they need, all of the resources. You don't have to stay in an abusive relationship. You don't have to. I am trying my best to give you all that I can to make sure that you will stay safe. Mm-hmm. And you just have to take a leap of faith and reach out to me, contact me, because I am motivated to help.
Yes.
And to the hearing community, you never know what you can do for us if you don't try.
Amen.
Share what you have. As I said before, help us learn too. Communication does not have to be a problem. I'm happy to give you a name and phone number of an interpreter. I'm happy to communicate for, the victim. But at the same time, be willing to provide a sign language interpreter for us. Okay. I can connect you with an interpreter agency. And for the law enforcement, that's always a problem. That's just always a problem. Mm-hmm. Be willing to provide an interpreter. Because a lot of us, we have a hard time contacting the police because you don't believe us.
Wow.
We resist contacting the police officers, whether it's our kids or our, family member or anything. You tell us to use a family member to interpret for us. That's not their place. That's something you shouldn't even ask us to do. A family member or child, they should not be involved when we are contacting you all. Whatever it is, whatever we're going through, anything pertaining to domestic violence, our family members, our children should not be involved to interpret that. I've heard from some deaf people that experience domestic violence say that you had them using their children to interpret. Right? The police, kind of pushed for it. And legal system or court or whatever. No, It is not a child's place to interpret. It's
Amen.
Not. You have to provide communication access for us, a live interpreter, or if you use a video remote interpreter or video relay service interpreter, you have to provide that. Communication equipment is there. Y'all have it there. Let's do it. That's all. That's all I want to say to you. Help us. Help me. Help me help them.
Exactly. So you think about it. Everybody's looking for people speaking in Spanish, all these other languages or whatever. Come on. ASL is not new. It's been around forever, it seems like.
Right.
So,
Yep, communication access for other languages, they have no problem doing that. But I don't know, when it comes to American Sign Language interpreting, I don't know what's the problem with that, Is it funding? I don't know. But
maybe it's not enough concern.
I don't know. There still should not be no excuse, though. I hear what you're saying, but there should not be no excuse. You know how many times I've heard that or seen with my own eyes trying to get help for deaf domestic violence survivors, whether it's through DSS. It's tiring. I'm tired. I don't know. Hearing people say, I don't know how to communicate and just all these excuses. I'm tired of hearing it. I am.
I know that's right.
I'm tired. I never, maybe because you never met a deaf person, you can't relate, or maybe you haven't seen a deaf person. I don't know, but just learn and ask, what can you do? It would not hurt just by asking that simple question.
I just thought about something, Myra. So I hired an attorney to help me fight my abuser and get out of my marriage. Imagine having to also need an interpreter. All the money you spend on the attorney, then you got to also pay the interpreter. I mean, are y'all thinking about the big picture of this? We have got to support. We have got to support. So check this out. This is Latasha. She's going to be on my show next Sunday. She works for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department in the Domestic Violence Survivors Unit. She's a counselor. You see what she wrote? I would definitely look into this on my end with the CMPD. Charlotte.
Oh, it's so small. I couldn't see it.
So she says, I will definitely look into this on my end with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. You making connections, Myra?
I appreciate that.
You
Now,
are
you know
making
what? I do
connections.
know one officer. Wait, I think it's chief of police.
Ooh, okay.
And this person is a child of a deaf adult. That means his parents are deaf. And it's a chief who worked there and at the police department. And they did come to one of my presentations in
Wow.
2019. They came to my presentation. Yep, this person did. And it was nice with him wanting to be involved with that.
Latasha, I know we're kind of having a
It was a
conversation with you,
gentleman.
sort of, but do you know who Myra might be referring to? She said she thinks it was chief of police. Is that what she said? The chief of police?
I think so. Yep, I think that
Okay.
was the title.
All right, we'll see if Latasha writes back with another comment. But listen, she works in this domestic violence unit. And from her perspective, she's like, never probably thought about it really, right? And here you are. That's why you're, oh, look. She said, look, Chief Jennings.
I think so. It's been a long time. It was in 2019. Yes, I think so.
That's what this is all about.
Chief Jennings' parents are deaf.
She must think, Latasha, if you know, are his parents deaf? Do you know? I know we're having this conversation with Latasha, but this is why we're doing this, Myra. This is why we're doing it. These kinds of connections. That's what we want.
See, I'm happy to see some movements. I'm happy to see some movement.
All right. Well, listen, it is 8:11. I don't know if Latasha's going to write back again to whether she knows if Chief Jennings' parents, one of his parents, are deaf, but we'll see. If not, she'll text me and she'll tell me because we talk. So anyway, Myra, my heart. I know your organization is Deaf Heart to Deaf Heart, but my heart to your heart. I do like this.
Thank you. Oh, also I wanted to say something. Okay. I wanted to say, yep, Deaf Heart to Deaf Heart. That's mine, but I also work with another domestic violence advocacy. It's a deaf hotline.
Okay.
And we're trying to set up, hold on, this is the interpreter. You said you also work with who? And you're back connected. I also work with another deaf woman. I think she's in Raleigh. I believe so. And we are working on setting up an organization for deaf all over North Carolina. Right now, we are working with victim services right now. Hopefully, we can get some movement happening soon.
Does she happen to know the number? I don't know if she sent it to me or not.
So if you're listening to my story, I'm hoping that this will open up more doors for not only myself, but her organization as well, since she and I are working together.
Okay. Ask Myra if she knows. Myra, do you know the phone number of that organization? The hotline, I'm sorry, the deaf hotline for domestic violence? If not, it's okay. I can post it later. Okay.
Yeah, I don't, it's in my bag over there.
Okay, no worries. All right, so last comment from Natasha. She says, I will confirm or find out who it was to make the connection.
Thank you.
All right. So we are at the end of this podcast. It has been phenomenal. Thank you, Myra. Thank you, Felicia. Felicia is making a huge difference for people who need interpreters, and then specifically here for the domestic violence, people who have suffered domestic violence. And so I appreciate you so much, Felicia. I appreciate you, Myra. So this is a good night to all of you. This has been great. I am looking forward to next week. You see that name on the screen, Latasha Coleman. She will be my next survivor advocate. She will be on next Sunday, November 7th. We are going to keep this train moving down the track. Myra, we are going to get some new connections for you. We are going to make it happen. I know some people with a little bit of money, that can help. We're going to bring some things to you. We're going to try to help, okay? All right, everybody, have a good night. This has been...
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Welcome. You are welcome. I'm going to make sure this gets shared. I'm going to do my best to keep sharing this episode. And I do want to know what costumes your boys had on when they went out for Halloween. Okay. I want some pictures.
Did I get my boys' costumes? Is that what you're asking? Nah, I did not.
They went out to get candy.
Go on by their way.
They just knocking on doors like, trick or treat.
See how I go. We're going to see how I go.
Just make sure they bring back some Sour Patch Kids. That's what I want. All right, ladies.
That's my second son's favorite.
Have a good night. I will talk to both of you very soon, okay? All right, good night, everybody. Good night.
Bye.